Hey guys, Corey from Aquarium Co-op. It's another day in the fish room. Lots of stuff to get done. So when you're watching this, that's probably after I've already returned from Japan. I don't know exactly when it comes out, but definitely for sure after I've already left. So today I gotta get a bunch of stuff done. Priorities. Make sure all the maintenance is done, which we're auto water changing and stuff like that, but make sure things are in tip top. I need to make sure all the auto feeders are topped off so that I can still get good fry growth while I'm gone and things like that. And so I'll be going through all those and just making sure they're topped off, and switching some around based on what tanks are going to need it the most. I do have someone coming by to feed as well a few times, but I am gone for basically 11 days in Japan. Hopefully getting a lot of good footage to show on the channel here. But that also kind of puts a little bit of a stranglehold on me. I can't get too much stuff done in the fish room because it's a horrible idea to make big changes and then leave it for 11 days. So, if I make a change to plumbing and it leaks, well, I won't find out for at least 11 days. So that's not the safest thing to do. So I just have to pick projects that are very low impact. For instance, one of the ones that I desperately think I need to do, but I don't want to do it before I leave, would be this one. So I've got my sump system down here, and let me crawl down here. But the float itself isn't always working, so like right now it's sitting full of water, much higher than it should be. I need it to pump water out faster than, well, not faster than this, but work correctly. So from my research, one of a couple things might be going wrong. One, my float switch might just be kind of crappy. It came with the pump. Alright, that could be an option. Two, it might be that the sumps are designed to have a little more water pressure in there, or water height. So, like maybe the float switch isn't moving well enough, but if it had this much pressure, the air inside it would lift it up then. Because it doesn't take a whole lot. I just have to, stick my hand in there, and if I just touch it, it instantly pumps all the water out. Luckily, we did build it in with this overflow, so it just uses the natural one, but I don't necessarily want to rely on that. I'm going to rely on it while I'm on vacation, but in an ideal world, it would pump it out as opposed to overflowing out. And it, so I just reset it now, it might go fine for 3 or 4 days, and then I'll come back and, oh man, it's stuck again. So that's a project I do want to get figured out long term, but not a safe project to undertake right before you leave the country. And you don't want to have someone come in to feed the fish room and let you know that, oh yeah, it's completely flooded. Like all the water that's auto water changing and all that stuff, doesn't work. But I just heard running water, I was scared, and it's going through the pipes from that right over there. Some of you might think like, well, shouldn't you shut the whole water change system down? That is an option, but I think I'm worse off for it. Like all these tanks are used to getting 2 water changes every single day, and I think it's best to change the least amount of things possible when leaving. So, they're still going to get 2 water changes a day. Knock on wood, so to speak. Everything's been running to clockwork for many months. It's been working the way it should. And so it's one of those things you hope that, well, the 11 days, well, no one's here to see it, let's hope it continues to run well. Things I might try and do. So I might try and do some workout here today. Just depends. Like, in a perfect world, I probably get these koi moved out of this bin and maybe into this bin here to visit, or not to visit, but to join their other koi that went in here. Water's a little cloudy, but I just fed. And ideally I'd get another filter built and running on this tote so that it's cycled and ready for when I'm back from Japan, because I've got koi from Japan coming to me to sell in my store. And so, it would be best if I get an extra filter up and running today as opposed to 2 weeks from now. So that's on the agenda. Might pull that pond all the way out. We'll see if I get that far. It won't kill me to let it sit there, but at the same time, You know, gotta find stuff to do. Also, I won't say I can't work that long, but you know, probably around 5 or 6 or so, I'll cut the day off because it's my birthday today. So thanks to everyone who found me on Facebook and wished me a happy birthday. I'm just going to address you all here as opposed to replying to all of you individually, so thanks for that. But yeah, I'm going to get started in this fish room. Lights haven't even come on yet, but I know I got a ton of work and a ton of things to get done both here and at the store before I leave, and so yeah, I'm getting started. So I just want to show you guys some of like why I don't like Ken's fish food, or it's not that I don't like all of them, it's that I have problems with some of the products, and I've been showing you guys lately some of the foods I do like, and so I think the more I talk about why I don't like some of the foods, it helps illustrate why I do like some of them, things like that. So I bought right here, well, I'm just going to put it down on the table, we have some the 1.5 floating betta pellets, and you know, it doesn't have the best ingredients list, but it was crazy cheap, right? So I'm thinking, all right, let's see what it's like. And wheat germ, or wheat is the first, you know, thing. Fish meal, but it's got good things in there too, like krill and spirulina and stuff like that. The problem with this pellet is I could never once get a betta to eat it. I couldn't really get African cichlids to eat it either, so I was raising up all those red zebras and yellow labs and things like that, because that was my logic. My logic was, okay, I'm importing a ton of bettas, and I'm importing African cichlids. Let's try and add this to some higher quality foods to thin it down a little bit, to keep my costs down. You know, I was breaking my rule of always feed the best quality, going, well, let's see, because you know, those fish, like the bettas were being sold in my store, but the African cichlids were mostly being sold to other stores and things like that, and maintenance guys, you know, and they're very price sensitive, and so for me, I know if I feed the best food and it costs more, it's completely worth it. For them, they only care about the price, and so my goal was to keep them healthy and growing at maybe a little bit lesser of a price. Well, kind of bit me where I bring in, you know, I think I brought in 2 or 3 pounds of that food, and the only thing I can get to eat it are the koi. And the koi will eat anything though, like they're, you know, they'll eat anything. So, you know, that's why I don't endorse their products. I'm not saying don't buy Ken's fish. There's a lot of products that are decent, and a lot of people have success with them. But there's also, in my opinion, some dogs. And for me personally, in my fish, this pellet was not good. Now, someone out there is going, well, it works just fine for all my bettas and things like that. I have no doubt that that is true. It's just like any other food. You might hate nachos. I love nachos. My dog might love this food, but your dog hates that food. And so there's always going to be, this works for me, doesn't work for you type of thing. But that's why, you know, I just want to chime in with this and just go, well, in my experience with that one, and don't think that this is my only experience. Don't get me wrong, as a hobbyist and store owner and working for other stores, you know, I've probably spent $5,000 to $10,000 with Ken's Fish on different products and foods and things like that over the years. You know, some stores that I work for would buy all their food that they're feeding to their fish from there and things like that. So spent lots of money, tested lots of things, and there definitely are gems, and there's also dogs in the product lines there, but that's for every single manufacturer. I don't care who it is. There's winners and there's losers of every line. But that's why, in general, I just not a heavy user of Ken's Fish, and it typically, like other brands, gets talked about and referred to as golden. So, you know, when people recommend Ken's Fish, they go, oh, anything by them is great. Same thing happens with New Life Spectrum. Oh, any of their foods are great. Same thing with Aquarium and Omega-1 and Sarah. And the reality is, every company has some foods they do really good at, and some they're not so good at. Like New Life Spectrum, for instance, might be really great with cichlids and things like that, maybe in your, you know, in people's opinions. But it's not the best koi food, and you know, they have all these other blends that are so-so, things like that. You know, they're all very similar, but being similar, they're better for some fish than others. So, and Hikari's the same way. Every brand's the same way. They make some foods very good and some that are mediocre. So that's my thoughts on Ken's Fish. But back to actually working in the fish room, I was just unloading a fish feeder because I had nothing that I could actually feed it to. I was kind of unloading it on some angels and they wouldn't even touch it, and I was having to net it back out after a few days of that. I go, hey, I gotta stop this. I can't find anything to eat this besides koi, so koi will eat it. And you know, they're also, so with the koi, just so you guys, you know, if you're watching this and you're my retail customer going, oh, it's feeding crap to koi, realize that I'm mixing in that small pellet, but I'm also feeding them Hikari multi-season pellet, which, you know, that comes in a 33-pound bag for me, and they retail for about $300. And so I'm mixing, in my opinion, a lower quality food in very small amounts. You know, so if we mix, let's say, 2 pounds of that to 33 pounds of the most expensive koi food I can buy, you know, I can't bring myself to throw it away. And so it's like, well, it's not so bad the fish shouldn't eat it, but at the same time, I'm not only going to feed that to my fish for sure. So, all right, back to actually working for me. Enough of ranting, and I want to make sure this doesn't come across that I am saying don't buy from Ken's Fish or anything like that. I'm just explaining my choices. It's the same reason I can go in the same rant probably why I hate, you know, a salad from McDonald's or something like that, you know. So don't think that I'm just bashing that company, but in my opinion, for me to talk about why I like a food, let's say the Sarah O-Nip tabs or something like that, I also need to explain why I don't like certain foods. And I hope the companies don't take it as too harsh criticism, because it's not that, you know, that food might work great for some people, it is not working for me. That's all I can say. And I've met plenty of people and we go back and forth, like I can't get any of my fish to eat omega-1, and there are plenty of people on the internet that say it's the best food, their fish love it. For whatever reason, I could never get my fish onto it. And I've watched other stores be successful with it and my store not be successful with it, so I don't know, but I can only ever tell you guys my own personal experiences, and that's what I do. So you can have different experiences, you can have the same experience, no idea, but that's my reasoning behind why I'm using certain foods and certain not. And I'll keep listing more and more and more foods. You know, I'm actually seeing one right behind me, right back here. That's a weird food right there that I'm testing out. I actually kind of like it. And it's not for fish at all. It's actually for turtles and things like that, but it's made by Sarah. But it's got lots of gramaris and it's got some anchovies and stuff like that in there. And I do feed it to my turtles, and I actually like that food quite a bit, but you know, most of you aren't into turtles, so it doesn't do me a whole lot of good to tell you guys all about that product. But you know, if you have questions, put it down below and I'll answer them. But I do like that food. Expensive, but good. So, all right, back to actual work for me. I'll chime in as I'm, you know, getting these feeders loaded up and doing things like that. So we'll talk to you in a bit. It just doesn't end. As I'm trying to fill these fish feeders, I keep getting ideas of things I need to talk about, and so I'm just going to keep doing that. So here I've got a product that I absolutely love. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not in love with the ingredients, but I love the way it feeds, and if I had the option, I would feed an insane amount of this. Like, it would probably be my #1 staple food for most of the fish I'm breeding. And but I'll explain why it's not. So I absolutely love the Tetra Crisps. The delivery system is what I'm in love with. It's uniform, it's in a flake food, and what that allows me to do is put it into auto feeders and it feeds out really well. But the insane part is, because every flake is perfectly the same pretty much, the float time is insane. So like if I put some into this tank right here, and they, you know, it's Corridors in here, so they're not going to want to come up and eat it. But 2 hours later, it's still floating on the top, and that is so useful for top-dwelling fish and mid-water feeders and things like that that don't want to eat off the bottom, but they will eat off the top. And so why don't I feed a ton of this? Because it's expensive, you know. So like I have to retail this for like 22 bucks in my store, and I can't buy it in bulk. This is the biggest container I can buy it in. It used to be, you know, a few years ago, you could buy this in the 2-gallon pail, the 5-gallon pail, things like that. I know that it's available in those sizes in the UK because I look on eBay in the UK and I can find it, but the shipping is cost prohibitive to send it over. Plus, for me as a store owner and the amount of fish I'm feeding, I can't really afford to pay retail prices and ship it over from the UK to get it to me. And I've asked the Tetra reps, and so if there's a Tetra rep watching or someone that knows one, tell them that a guy like me would totally be using this food way, way, way more and recommending it to people if I could get it in bulk. But this, like this can that you're looking at here, this is about, in my store, it's 2 days of feeding. 2 days, that's it. And so, at that price, you know, we'll do all retail because I don't want to spoil any other wholesale prices for other stores and things like that. But at $22, 2 days of feeding, I could also probably feed, you know, a pound of live blackworms or a pound of frozen bloodworms and things like that, which it's hard to justify when live and frozen foods are almost cheaper than the dry food. That's a hard justification. But I do, you know, this works so well for celestial pearl danios, Norman lampi killies, hatchet fish, almost every type of tetra. Like, I love it, love it, love it. And then, so then, it's gonna bring me to my next tip. Like, in this can is not even their food. Like, I'm out. But what I do like about this container, so as you guys know, I'm kind of a, for lack of a better term, a packaging Nazi. Like, I don't like it when we're wasting things. And so, you know, this is a plastic container. And so either A, I have to recycle this, or B, I actually recycle it myself. And so if I take the, oh, this is a horrible video here, I can't even get this thing open. There we go. So if I take the lid off, it's nice and plastic. I like to reload this with other foods. And so this actually here is a Sarah discus food, which that's a whole nother video. I do love this food. It's a little messy to feed. It's very expensive, but it's very high quality. And so I like to load that currently into my auto feeders, and I'm running that in quite a few of them. But this container, it's awesome. It's made out of plastic. It's got a good, decent seal on top, and it just works well. And so you can recycle this by using it. Like, yeah, you're gonna know, oh, Tetra Color Crisps aren't in there, but you can load it up. So especially like if I was buying Ken's fish food, I could drop it all in there, and now I have a good container that my hand fits in and I can use it. So reusing, repurposing, all those types of things. But I do love this food, and I hope someone from Tetra contacts me and goes, well, for you, buddy, we can get you can buy 10-pound things of it or whatever. Like, I so badly want this food in mass quantity. And I will touch on the ingredients. You know, it's fish meal. Well, if I can get it to focus here, fish meal. There we go. Fish meal, dried yeast, corn, but it's got some shrimp in there. That's not so bad. The yeast helps for digestion. It's got all the billion other little things like vitamins and all that kind of stuff, but the whole important part is the delivery system. And if you guys have heard me rant about fish food before, you know that if a fish doesn't eat it, I don't care how good it is, because it doesn't matter. And so the fish do like to eat that, and then the way it delivers is amazing. Like, it also works out awesome. Light's not on yet, but for these cyprichromas, they love to eat it too. There's all these fish that do really well eating on it, and that's why I like it, because it's, you know, you can tell me all day long that this food is great, but if they can't, you know, if this fish can't fit that pellet in its mouth, it's not gonna work. So, alright, now I'm actually going to load those fish feeders. Hopefully I'll stop running into things that I think I need to share with you guys, and so I can actually get some work done, but I will check in later. Well, feeders are done. Now I've hit roadblock. I've got the bucket filters made 2 more. A little low on media, but where I'm blocked is I got to run to the hardware store, and I want to put a power strip back along here, because the one I'm going to plug in over here, there's no way it's going to reach over there, and I'd like to get that splitter out of there and just have a nice power bank back here that I can plug stuff into. So that requires, you know, my favorite thing to do, a trip to the hardware store on my birthday. Yay. But I'm going to do that, and then, you know, I'm going to get these installed, and then I'm going to figure out what I do next. That I don't know. Oh, by the way, I want to show you guys one more thing. I always feel bad when I'm showing this tank off, because I feel like you guys at home probably think I'm keeping horrible water quality. It's actually the sunlight that comes through this window right here just makes a ton of algae. So like if I just rub it off, and that's what causes the green, or not green, but the brown tint to this water. So that's why, you know, like you see koi here, it looks like I'm, you know, horribly not treating them right. And you hop over to here, like, oh, it's clean, it's clean, it's clean. Sunlight's not hitting these ones, only this one. So Just wanted to clear that up so I don't, so that I don't always look like the worst koi keeper ever. Got the same problem over here actually with this tank. The sunlight hits it, but algae's not a bad thing. Don't be afraid of it, but it looks bad on camera. So I'm running to the hardware store. I'll be back. So I went to the hardware store, came back, eating some lunch on my couch, and then I remember, oh my god, I'm an idiot. And I sprint to the fish room as fast as I can, hoping to avert disaster, and let me show you what went on. So I was pumping, I thought, oh man, wouldn't it be smart if I just pumped this water that the koi already used to into this tote, right? I'm like, sure, yeah, good idea. But then I was like, oh yeah, I have to go get a power strip to put there. Alright, well I don't want to overflow this thing, like what if it gets going too fast and overflows? Well, I'm not here, that would be horrible, right? So I unplug it. I pull it right out of the wall, I unplug it. I go do my stuff, right? I'm sitting on the couch and I go, wait a second, I never undid the hose. So literally it's going to back siphon in. So I came out here expecting this to be flooded, going, oh my god, what have I done? Luckily, the pipe wasn't long enough and it stopped here. But as my favorite saying goes, I love to show you guys me being dumb. That was very close to a giant mess. I could have had hundreds and hundreds of gallons of water all on the floor. Luckily, someone or something was looking out for me today, and I averted that disaster, so now I can keep working. But, yeah, so I wish I had a camera on me, because it's that, oh, is that water flowing sound I hear? Like that run when you know you're overflowing an aquarium, and you run as fast as humanly possible. I was doing that, so now I'm gonna get back to work and I'll chime in later. Well, the filters are installed, the power strip's installed. I haven't finished moving the koi because I might just move them straight to the store before I go. But 2 new working filters there and there. I adapted it to what someone asked if I had to use a lid, and you're right, I don't think you do have to use a lid, so I just have it going down to the bottom, and you get some more media in these obviously, but it saves the price of a bulkhead, and it might be useful to be able to move that around. I'm not sure, I haven't really found that many uses for it. As you see, I almost caused a disaster with it, but if I needed to move water from one tote to another, that might be useful. If I needed to drain one or something like that, so yeah. Well, before I wrap this up, I'll show you I'm doing a water change on the living room tank. Not a lot's been done to it, that's why I haven't been showing it off. Got some goldfish in there, I've got a little bit of substrate, and mostly just cycling and waiting for parts to show up. I'm kind of waiting for a cancer filter still. There's only a couple of sponge filters and things like that, and but while I've got some sunlight, I thought I'd show off the stand like I said I would before. So you can see here the sunlight's kind of highlighting some of the wood carving here, and yeah. So just doing a quick little, I guess, walking tour of, all the carving and, stuff like that. But mostly just some goldfish. I'll show them off real quick. They're nothing crazy spectacular at the moment. Just auto feeding them, and they're all sitting in the corner over here at the moment because of the water change going on. But yeah, changing, roughly 2/3 here while waiting for my wife to get home with birthday dinner. But yeah, so back to work for me. I've got videos to edit and things like that, but yeah. So that might be it. Maybe that's all I can get done on my birthday. It's about 3 o'clock and I can't tackle any projects too large because I'll be going to Japan here, and I leave on Sunday, today's Thursday, so it's like 3 days. And yeah, so everything you see after this is, well, that's not true. Everything you see me building in the fish room after this will be from when I'm back from Japan, but there's other videos they'll be releasing while I'm in Japan and after that I'd shot before, obviously. So now I'll probably just clean up and just double check on everything and make sure it's good to go. I mean, obviously I'm going to feed the next couple of days and check on the fish room and things like that, but yeah, once I get back from Japan, full force Team Aquarium Co-op, we'll be sending out the newsletters for that. We'll be giving away some of those products, things like that. As you'll see as I'm gone, more reviews came out, things like that. So I appreciate everyone that's sharing content. I do see that happening and I appreciate it. So go ahead and give a like down below if you like the content, and we'll see you in the next video. And hopefully some Japanese fish store tours.